No, so dumb. I can't believe people are posting all kinds of crazy stuff online. Apparently, too. What's up, everybody? Welcome. By the way, thank you for stopping by. I was gonna jump on an hour ago when the breaking news happened, but then I realized I didn't have any notifications, so I decided to wait. Even though sometimes with breaking news, waiting for a notification doesn't matter that much, more than jumping on it first, kind of thing. But anyway, what's up, man? Welcome, welcome. So also there is a press conference today. Let's see, at 4 or 3. I think it's at 3 actually. At 3. And obviously this is really bad news. This is kind of what I was thinking. Maybe a lot of people were thinking about this whole implosion theory. It's possible what it sounds like. The debris field was discovered within the search area by an ROV near the Titanic. Experts within the Unified Command are evaluating information. That was 1 out of 2. And then 2 out of 2. Next press briefing can be found here. Oh, they got the correct link. Fixed it. So 3 p.m. The estimated oxygen ran out last night, I think. And this morning. And there was some weird stuff too going on, because there was this thing where see if I can find it. They're talking about, we can get into that too. There's a lot of people talking about that. The whole thing where this guy didn't want to hire 50-year-old white guys. I forgot the whole context of that. There was a video clip of it. The sonar experts said, and the other thing too, since that they found this debris, so that banging sound wasn't it. The thing that I saw here, this person here, sonar expert says, which this is a real possibility. Sonar expert says underwater banging heard by Coast Guard and subsearch site is debris falling from the decaying wreck, and proof of life of Titanic 5 is wishful thinking. Damn. Sadie May, thank you so much for the 11-month membership. Thank you for resubscribing. Says thanks for always being on top of all the updates. Thanks. So that noise, I guess, wasn't them. Let's see. We can listen to this.
I'm Professor Emeritus of Geology.
There's also a clip that I want to play for you guys. I was listening to WFLA a little bit. They got like 80,000 people over there. Or maybe 90 by now, who knows. But they had on this guy. I'm going to play a little snippet. I don't want to show it on. So when we get to that, I'll play a little snippet, because he was describing what it would entail. Because since there's debris now at the bottom of this ocean, now it's going to be, how are they going to recover, how they're going to get back. I did see something last night too. I hope I sent myself the clip. That there was this company that was offering help to the U.S. and they got turned down multiple times, I think.
At Syracuse University, and I'm an adjunct scientist at the Woods Hole Oceanographic Institution. I'm a geologist who's interested in the rocks on the seafloor, led several expeditions on oceanographic research vessels using remotely operated vehicles and the UMID operated vehicle, Alvin, to study the seafloor in lots of places. So I've made lots of dives in Alvin. Light, if you go down in a submarine, the light disappears at about 500 meters depth. So down where the bottom of the ocean there where the Titanic is, it is utterly dark, silent, just above freezing.
And if you remember yesterday's live stream, we were talking about this guy that had gone down there to see the Titanic, and it wasn't this submersible. I think it was a different one, but he said that he actually got stuck by the ship or the propeller, and like he thought he was gonna die. Oh yeah, it was that. We were watching that yesterday. It was really interesting. Like when the guy was talking about that story, the guy was literally shaken up. Like you could tell this guy was like traumatized by that. He thought his life was over.
There's no weather. There's no current. There's no wind. There's no nothing. It is just the most utterly stagnant place you can imagine. That's why it's not feasible to just take one of these remotely operated vehicles, ROVs, down there and look around and find it. It is literally groping in the dark. So we rely utterly on sound to find the submarine. This sound is bounced off objects. The problem is that even relatively small objects, sometimes they make reflect a lot of sound. And with this debris field, there's just a lot of junk down there that's reflecting. The best thing can happen is if the sounds persist, at least they can locate the source of that sound. Yeah, by that triangulation method. You know, the banging, I have to say, I hear the Coast Guard guys talking about this. You know, I wonder how much of this is just wishful thinking. And, you know, is it really banging or just some unidentified sound, I think is a more accurate description right now. In past investigations looking for lost objects on the seafloor, I know that all sorts of crazy sound was discovered. It's something, just one more thing we don't understand about the ocean, our own planet.
RMS Titanic. A friend of mine was saying that today. I mean, I know it's a grim way to talk about it, but RMS Titanic was saying this was a better way to die instantly dead other than die of hypoxia. Yeah, the implosion thing. That would have been instant. That would have been like instantaneous. I don't even know I don't know how much would they even be able to see it, or just for a few seconds before everything just, I mean, I don't know how fast an implosion is. Somebody had sent me a video. I forgot who, because I get so many texts and messages every day. I forgot who had sent me some type of video. Oh, maybe, hold on, let me see. I'm thinking of somebody at the top of my head. It might be interesting to see that as well. I think she sent me this. Here we go. Submarine simulation, implosion, sinking. All right, let's take a look. I'm going to send this to myself. Been wanting to check this out. So we'll do that. And so, yeah, by the way, everybody that's joining, if you guys could hit the like button, please, I'd appreciate that. Subscribe. I am looking for you. She texts me as I'm reading her messages. All right. So yeah, we're waiting for a press conference that's happening at 3 p.m. Eastern. So we got about 2 hours till that happens. I'm really curious to hear what they're going to say. Maybe they'll make some official announcement. Let me look at this implosion thing here. Watch it together. Jeez, the dramatic music. The South Atlantic Ocean, Wednesday, November 15, 2017. Was this a real submarine that has happened to? Or they're just not about the music. Tripping me out a little bit. There's another video too that I'm going to show you guys that what they're talking about. So I think, which is plausible, there is this window they were saying was only made to go to like 3,000 or 4,000 feet, I believe. And somebody was complaining about that window. I think that was what the whole lawsuit was about. And that guy said that it's not made to go like, I don't know, 10,000, 13,000 feet into the ocean. I think it's probably the window. Or I mean, unless they had a leak or something like that too. Pretty cool 3D simulation. I'm not sure how to say your name. Geezer, when a submarine hull collapses, it moves inward at about 1,500 miles per hour. Oh, okay. So you're not even... Look up Monster Can 100-foot implosion. Oh, okay. Let's check that out. I think so. Maybe it could kind of help people realize how much pressure, how... Oh, wow. Wait, what's going on here? Is that how it works? Implosion sinking. Wow. Oh wait, I'm blocking it. My bad. Wow. I mean, this is a huge submarine, though. It's not anywhere near the size of. These things are made to withstand. Let me look up that monster can thing. Let's see. Okay, yeah, we got a video here. That's interesting. This test. It's so weird to think about the pressure that's underwater. Like oh, it's crushing pressure. How does creatures underwater survive? Do they have no bones and stuff? What do you mean, creature? Animals. Sea life. Oh, okay, and he has to the rope. Oh wow. That is crazy to see that. Oh, you hear it too. Whoa. Let's come back up. Damn, bro. That's pretty cool. Every 33 feet is an atmosphere. Oh, you're good. Mandy, sorry for my emails. Cardi B spoke on it. There was some drama with Cardi B and the stepson of the, is that the billionaire? Something. There was some drama with her and the stepson. They went back and forth. Let me see. Cardi B, submarine. And then people were going out on the stepson too because he was asking some girl somewhere to sit on his face or something while his dad's underwater. Oh, because he was thirsty for the OnlyFans things. What happened? Oh shit. Oh, let's see. What's the best article? Maybe Daily Mail. I like Daily Mail. It has everything. Cardi B hits back. Let's take a look. What's going on with the drama world? Huh? Drama. People are dying underwater. Well, actually, they're probably deceased now, more than likely. All right, let's see what's going on. Cardi B hits back at the stepson of missing British billionaire after he called her out in a now deleted tweets amid desperate Titanic subsearch. Cardi B has hit back at the stepson of the missing British billionaire aboard the Titanic submarine after he called her out in now deleted tweets. Brian Sz was hit with backlash from the rapper and others for attending a concert. Oh, yeah. The day after his stepfather went missing in the Titan submersible, on the Titan submersible, and asking for an OnlyFans model set in his face. After Brian branded her a complete bit before deleting his entire... Oh, he deleted his Twitter account. Cardi responded by claiming he's been looking for clout and brought him desensitized. Cardi wrote, "The point of the whole world is praying for these people in the submarine, and this man's son is online shaking D's for girls off OnlyFans and going on Blink-182 concerts. He was looking for clout all along. Nobody knew who you were until you said that was your stepdad. This is why people hate you spoiled brat billionaires. Y'all so desensitized." Oh, shit. We got a video? You watch the video? Or it's just a post? I saw a response. Yeah, we've been talking about the debris. I'll pull up some of those channels too, so I can, every now and then we can pop up and check their feed. You see, Sky News is a good one, because then they're going to do the press conference too.
The family and the friends of the 5 men on board that ship, they would have known the consequences of putting that out, both for the family members and also for everybody else who's following this, quite frankly.
Friend of Titan crew tells Sky News that debris found includes landing frame and rear cover of the missing submersible. So it's confirmed. Wow.
Okay, so one of the billionaires that's missing on the water from that submarine, one of the billionaires, their stepson, is at a concert, right? At a Blink-182 concert. And people is like, well, what is he supposed to do? Be sad at the house? Is he supposed to go look for himself? Yes. You're supposed to be at the house sad. You're supposed to be crying for me. You're supposed to be right next to the phone waiting to hear any updates about me. You're supposed to be counseling your mom. Like, isn't it sad that you a whole billionaire and nobody gives a about you? Like you missing and mother ready to shake at concert. That's crazy. I'd rather be broke. I'd rather be broke than like and poor, but knowing that I'm loved. Like,
oh, I don't know if that guy's not loved. He's had a lot of friends and people come speak on his behalf, the billionaire. I mean, I know the point she's trying to make. What that guy was saying, the stepson, he was claiming that he went to Blink-182 because it's his like favorite band or something like that, and it's got him through hard times. So that's what he was saying, why he went to the concert. He already had bought the tickets. The other thing, I mean, this is all nonsense, right? We're really just talking about bullshit with this that situation. But yeah, I saw that floating around. People were talking about it.
But I think what your guest, David Means, says is highly credible. I think it's fascinating. It's absolutely fascinating. It's also tragic because I think it strongly suggests that there has been some sort of catastrophic rupture, some sort of catastrophic implosion, and it has happened close this morning to the Titanic, which makes sense on one level, despite the currents, despite the swell in the North Atlantic, that some of this debris has popped up on the surface close to the Titanic.
Yeah. Okay, John, thank you very much. And David, you just want to, your information is that this debris is on the seabed.
It's on the seabed, not on the surface.
Right.
It's easy to get the terminology,
Yeah.
but yes, it's on the seabed. That's the only place it would be. That's where the ROVs are working.
Right. And we're going to take a break. But
Okay.
to start,
So yeah, we'll keep an eye on them. I have other videos that I want to show you guys, but I'll definitely keep that window open, especially when the press conference comes and what other little updates we get. On Thursday, Shazaz, whose stepfather is a billionaire, claimed to have $100 to his name. What? Ooh. I mean, this is all nonsense, but and said he's going through hell and added the whole situation as an effing nightmare. Everything about it, especially what Hamas is going through down there, is just effing god awful. He said, I haven't slept in days, but this is not about me. Obviously, I'm too worried about my mom and the situation, so I'm not rocking out or whatever they're trying to accuse me of. It just makes the effing situation that much worse. He also claimed that the OnlyFans model he asked to sit on his face is a friend of his and leaves a cheeky comment every day on her post, and everyone flipped out. I think I heard that, I don't know if she's OnlyFans, I heard she was like a Twitch streamer too or something. I don't know. She wished me well and wished my family well. It's still kind of weird to post that though, but I mean, I don't know. Give it a break. There's nothing wrong with that. He told his followers, I'm just tired of all the BS. Well, that's him right there. Zaz said he can't go out to the ocean. He also doesn't have enough funds to leave California to head to Canada, and has a legal situation keeping him there. So he apparently deleted all his shit. But this was the post sent in my face. Yeah, I don't know what kind of the hell is this chick wearing over here. Okay, we'll skip past that. But did I just show up accident? Oop. I can't. It's not naked, but it's a little too much. I can't get on a flight. I don't have a passport. He admitted. He said he watched the news for 2 days straight and went to Blink 182 concert for a quick 2-hour break for relief and was just nodding his head. The submarine is stuck at the damn Titanic. There's nothing I can do about the situation. All right. Damn, he even got a picture over there? Oh, shit. Damn, bro. Nah. During the last few days, Shazaz has received immense criticism for attending a Blink 182 concert. Is this a current picture? Jesus Christ. Lord almighty. Okay. So there's something I wanted to show you guys too that I thought was interesting. If I could figure out which one it was. I don't remember.
Bureaucracy may have delayed.
Oh, this is one of the things I want to talk about. The bureaucracy thing. I saw this morning. I'm like shaking my head. I guess it honestly wouldn't, at the end of the day, it wouldn't have made a difference because it seems like these people imploded probably halfway down. When they lost communication, maybe that was a thing. Though people that have ridden on that submersible before have said that losing communication is a thing that happens all the time. But clearly they never communicated back. So maybe that was it when the last time they communicated, maybe that's what happened. You have no time to do anything. The other theory they're saying is they thought maybe they were incapacitated, but it looks like now it imploded.
Efforts to find that sub in the North Atlantic, missing since Sunday as it headed to the Titanic wreckage site 2.5 miles below the surface. According to National Geographic, the deep-sea exploration company, the Explorers Club, had been trying to send potentially life-saving technology to the site since shortly after the news broke about the rescue mission.
They have noted that since Monday, they have been reaching out to U.S. authorities and saying that there is a concern about how to retrieve this vessel if they could find it.
National Geographic reports special underwater drones outfitted with external arms could have been delivered to the site within 16 hours from the UK.
Which honestly, maybe they're still going to... How far can they go all the way down there? Maybe that's what they're going to need to get the...
This vessel if they could find it.
National Geographic reports special underwater drones outfitted with external arms could have been delivered to the site within 16 hours from the UK. But Explorers Club President Richard Garriott reportedly emailed the Navy and Coast Guard yesterday saying they have received mixed signals, first hearing from U.S. government to get ready, waiting for plans, then getting told to stand down. Hours after that email was reportedly sent, the Coast Guard confirmed one of the special underwater drones was now en route.
This is a search and rescue mission, 100%. We'll continue to put every available asset that we have in an effort to find the Titan and the crew members.
A French ship was expected to arrive at the site overnight, equipped with a deep-sea robot that could free the sub if it's stuck, but the robot cannot lift the sub to the surface. Search crews have been scouring an area twice the size of Connecticut. The 5 crew members aboard the submersible, including a British billionaire, a Pakistani businessman and his son, and a world-renowned Titanic researcher, were locked in from the outside with 17 bolts and no escape hatch. Even people expressing optimism warn many obstacles remain, from pinpointing the vessel's location to bringing it to the surface, assuming it's still intact. All that has to happen before the crew's oxygen supply runs out, as early as this morning.
Everybody's talking about this kind of, tomorrow morning the air runs out. Unfortunately, it's not an immediate process. The air will, the oxygen levels will continue to.
Hey, everybody, welcome.
And people, it's going to be a slow process. So the Explorers Club members are confident that there is still time.
Meanwhile, a stunning new revelation about one of the 5 crew members, Stockton Rush, the CEO of OceanGate, which operates the sub. Rush's wife is a descendant of a couple who died on the Titanic,
wow.
Isidore and Ida Strauss.
That's crazy, right there, like the irony. I don't know if that'd be the appropriate word.
They were depicted in the 1997 movie about the disaster, the couple embracing in bed as the waters rise in that iconic scene.
Trying to get a copy claim.
Sounds underwater yesterday and the day before.
But that's not the one. I don't think they mentioned the window there. I think it's that window that could only withstand a certain amount of. I mean, unless I think it was on this one.
Hope today in the search for the lost Titan minisub.
Rescuers say they heard banging sounds in 30-minute intervals.
Sonar buoys dropped into the ocean by Coast Guard aircraft picked up the sound of banging. Could it be the trapped crew hammering on the side of the sub? Rescue crews are now scrambling to locate the source of the banging, with oxygen in the sub expected to run out Thursday morning.
We need to have hope, right? But I can't tell you what the noises are. But what I can tell you is, and I think this is the most important point, we're searching where the noises are.
Colonel Terry Wirtz's friend Hamish Harding, a veteran explorer, is one of the 5 men on board the Titan.
He would know the only way to communicate with the outside world is through banging on the wall, and that sound travels very well through the ocean.
The owners of the Titan are coming under fire today for refusing to have the sub tested by an independent regulatory body. Bart Kemper is one of 30 engineers who wrote to OceanGate, the company behind the Titan, urging them to have the sub tested. Are you saying there was no regulation of the Titan?
To my knowledge, that is the case.
I got these from Camper World.
CBS correspondent David Pogue was stunned when he saw some of the equipment on board earlier this year.
We run the whole thing with this game controller.
Come on! Yup, unbelievable but true. The Titan submarine is controlled by a Logitech game controller that you can find at any electronics store. We found this one today for $43. This toggle makes the sub go up and down. This one from left to right. And could the window on the sub be
this is the big thing to me.
compromised? A former employee sued OceanGate, claiming the window wasn't rated to go below 4,000 feet. The Titanic is sitting on the ocean floor at 12,000 feet, 3 times deeper. Some previous passengers we spoke with say the sub was plagued with technical issues.
Every trip I've taken with them,
this guy's the producer of The Simpsons? Oh.
Here is we've lost communication. I know that's the key phrase in this story is they've lost communication.
OceanGate CEO Stockton Rush, who is on board the stricken submersible, seemed unfazed by the safety concerns.
At some point, safety just is pure waste. I mean, if you just want to be safe, don't get out of bed. Don't get in your car.
I really understand what he's saying there to a certain degree. I understand that because like I wouldn't be doing this if I like this is risky. This YouTube shit. Tomorrow this thing could go. I have no job. I'm done. You know, like it's not more of. I mean, you could lose any job, but this one's more like, you know, like you really don't know, you know, like what's happening next month, next week, whatever. And I mean, I've just learned you have to take risk in life. But the thing is, this is not that kind of risk. Because it was negligent on his end, man. There's people, he got sued. There was a lawsuit. And when they sued this, when that guy went to go try to talk about it, to make a complaint, I believe, one of the videos that we were covering. And these people, this guy, that company, they go to sue him. And they fire him. And it's so ironic because you got to think about this shit. Like, I mean, this guy probably didn't have any time to even think about it, right? And the implosion thing, if that's what happened, which it looks like it, it's so freaking fast. I don't even think these guys even had a chance to think about it. But this guy that he did all this shit to, sue him, fire him, all this kind of shit, was actually trying to save your life and could have saved the life of other people. Right? So like I understand risk because I was watching this Piers Morgan thing this morning, which I like watching this thing sometimes. He had some pretty interesting interviews and stuff. But he was there talking about it, and I understand too. He was talking about the people saying, screw the rich people, blah, blah, blah. Like, there was actually people like wishing for their death. Some people were like, oh, this is these billionaires, blah, blah, blah. There's some people that are happy about this stuff. I mean, I understand the internet, they kind of joke, they kind of meme, whatever, but there's some people that are down route, like, why are we going to help them, and all blah, blah, blah. And so one of the things that he was saying is people like this that have been the innovators throughout humanity, people that take risk, which is true, you know, but this guy, he was negligent, and he not only for himself, you got to consider other people's lives are depending on you. They're trusting in you, you know? So like the whole thing of like not not going to get all the certifications because it would take forever, or because they're the innovators of this technology, so maybe they couldn't find somebody to certify this stuff. But when you have somebody telling you about this Windows shit, and then I was talking to a friend this morning, and she was like, but why didn't it happen on all the other trips? And I was like, I don't know. Maybe wear and tear. Maybe over time. They've done it so many times before. Yeah, I don't know why not before, why this time. And those things are supposed to be inspected all the time, each time. Moon Bunny, how you doing? Thank you for the super chat. Says a horrible way to go no matter what happened. Rest in peace to Suleiman. Can't say that right. So Hazara, Hamish, and Paul Henry and Stockton. Sea Weiss Life. We talked about the reptile trial. No, I haven't talked about it. I think you mentioned, or somebody mentioned it the other day. I don't know. Take a look at that. I mean, not right now, but I'll take a look at it in the future. I mean, it's really sad. It's unfortunate. It's a horrible thing. Let's take a look at News Nation.
We begin with some major new developments just into the newsroom.
I totally get what the guy's saying. You want to be safe, stay in bed. I understand that. But I don't know.
Now learned in the search for the missing sub, there has been a debris field that was discovered within the search area for the missing submarine that was last seen and heard from on Sunday. Dre Clark is standing by in Boston with this breaking development. Dre, what more are you hearing from the search and rescue teams at this hour about what specifically they have found?
Well, Marty, all morning long, we've been saying that this would be a pivotal day in this search effort with the underwater drones going in. It was going to give searchers a perspective they haven't had all week long. They've been conducting surface searches, but with these ROVs or underwater drones, they will be able to get a really good look 12,000 feet down near the site of the Titanic. Now, hours after that operation began, we now get a tweet from the U.S. Coast Guard. I'm going to read.
The Canadian Forces Combat Camera. I wonder if I could find it. I was wondering where they're getting this shit from, because I saw WFLA using it. That one says Vimeo or Vimeo.
Here it says a debris field was discovered within the search area by an ROV near the Titanic. Experts within the Unified Command are evaluating this information. I would imagine right now searchers are trying to get a really good look at that debris to see if there's anything remarkably identifiable that they can tie to the missing submersive, the Titan. This is a very, very deep dive that this underwater drone conducted, and it is really the first time this week that we've heard this type of thing as it relates to anything debris. We know we heard those noises yesterday, but we still don't know what the source of those noises are. But this is a really remarkable situation happening right now, because now they will have to take a really good look at that debris to try and determine if, in fact, that debris field belongs to the missing submersible.
Well, according to Sky News, it's confirmed to be there's parts from that submersible. We're going to take a look at Sky News again in a second. I actually don't even think they're covering the story right now. They took a break. But they said that the debris found includes landing frame and a rear cover of the missing submersible.
Of Ocean Gate, or the Titan, that went missing on Sunday. Marty.
Dre, we are learning that there is now a 3 p.m. Eastern press conference scheduled by the U.S. Coast Guard, at which we will learn more about what specifically they have found. Talk about the oxygen levels, the known oxygen, if they were still alive inside this sub, how much time they had left, and what they started with on Sunday.
Yeah, going into today, or going back to Sunday rather, the Coast Guard said that those on board, those 5 men on board, possibly had between 70 and 96 hours of oxygen on board the Titan. Going into today, based on the Coast Guard's timing, today would have been the day when that air supply would have run dry or expired. So there was a lot of concern knowing that perhaps this would be the last day when they would have the ability to breathe there underwater here. But now that we have seen this debris field, it shifts. The focus now shifts to trying to figure out what this debris is. And if it is, in fact, belonging to the Titan, this search will once again intensify. And quite frankly, this may shift from a search and rescue to a search and recovery. But it's still too early to make that determination. But Marnie, we suspect
that sub expert. I can play the retired Marine guy. I can play a little bit of it. I can't show it on the screen, but
there's at least a couple dozen people that are experts in the field that are going over the video that was sent back from the ROV to try and identify what, if this is a piece of the Triton and of the Titan, I'm sorry, and if it is a piece, what piece is it? And again, as I spoke earlier, if they decide that it's a thruster, then there's still a chance we'll find an intact hull. But again, my gut feeling is that this is a sure sign of an implosion. Yeah. Because the vehicle just didn't have that many external components.
Let me make something clear. We know that this particular live stream, because we are broadcasting to multiple social media platforms, WFLA.com, the WFLA app, and because we know that it's free to consume, it's free to watch, and free to listen, we know that this live stream has reached a lot of people around the world, and some people who are Googling or searching for live, ongoing, continuous coverage might have found our live stream. And when I say people, I mean sometimes it might be people that are directly connected to one of the 5 people that are on board that set forth on this expedition, set forth on this journey on the Titan submersible. And I just want to take a second to say, with as much sensitivity as I can, that we're passing along thoughts and prayers. And while this is not a death notice, this is not confirming 5 fatalities, and we are, of course, evaluating this news on a surface level based on what this tweet tells us. Doesn't tell us anything more than what you're seeing as far as the words.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of is what it's telling us, though. I mean, I understand they got to confirm the parts, but Sky News says confirm. Because there could be a bunch of different debris down there, too, but Bug Love, thank you for the 3-month membership. Has been modding for WFLA all day. Needed a break. Yeah, it's crazy over there. They got like 90 or 80 something thousand people. Slow chat doesn't even do anything at that point, right? You just gotta let it ride, let it rip.
5 men, including 3 Britons, are on board the Titan, which was attempting to explore the wreck of the Titanic. Well, joining me now is Admiral Sir James Bernal Nugent, former Commander-in-Chief, Fleet of the Royal Navy. Thank you for talking to us once again. And, well, I just wonder whether you were watching when our guest, who is the search and rescue expert, who knows the people on board and has been getting some sort of detail from the Atlantic, talking about that the landing frame was part of the debris and part of the cover. It does seem pretty ominous.
It does. I did indeed hear David speaking as the news came through on his WhatsApp group. In fact, I'd go a bit further than him, actually, because I think the fact the Coast Guard used the expression debris field suggests actually that there's quite a lot more than just those 2 items. I think the 2 items, the frame and the stern section, the cover, the fairing over the stern, that would have told the people operating the ROV that they've got the right wreckage, that this wreckage was definitely came from the Titan. But the fact they use the expression a debris field suggests to me that there'll be other smaller bits of debris lying around in the same vicinity. But we've really got to wait, haven't we, until I think it's 8 o'clock this evening when we'll get more information about what's been found. It's a sensitive issue too. Who knows what the debris field actually consists of.
Exactly, and that we will wait until 8 o'clock. You're right, when that news conference happens. Just at a more general point, this detail has emerged on the day that these remote, underwater vehicles have arrived on the scene. So clearly they have made a huge difference to this search.
Absolutely. I mean, it's exactly the right technology. These ROVs, I mean, they do all sorts of work on and in the vicinity of the ocean floor, exploration work, and servicing cable. We all know there's huge networks of undersea internet cables and things nowadays, and there's the whole oil and gas industry. The use of these ROVs is very widespread. There's not many of them that can go that deep, and obviously it took a while to get them on station to help with the search. But they're exactly the right technology for this sort of search. That's not to say that the search effort that was being done beforehand wasn't valuable. There was just a small chance, actually, that the Titan might have been on the surface or just wallowing just below the surface if they'd been able to shed the ballast and rise gradually back up to the surface. So the search using aircraft and sonar buoys was well worth doing. We've all heard about the tapping sounds, which sadly turned out not to be tapping sounds, but some other noise in the ocean. That was obviously well worth investigating. So, it's a question of getting into circumstances like this, so the best technology you can, as fast as you can. But the ROVs that can get down that deep are obviously going to be the turning point in the search, and that indeed is how it's turned out.
And what are your thoughts in general terms about vessels like this, submersibles like this, going down to such a depth?
Well, I think as as the years go by and as technologies advance and mankind wants to explore deeper and deeper in the oceans and further out into space, there's no reason for barring this sort of activity. All the people on board the Titan were volunteers. They made their own choice to be there. Nobody else actually was endangered by this activity. It's unlikely that there'd be casualties as part of the search effort, or any other consequential casualties. They made their own decision. It would appear they were extremely well briefed in the risks they were taking. So my inclination is actually, hopefully, mankind will always want to explore frontiers wherever they may be, whether it's Mars or whether it's the Mariana Trench or wrecks in the ocean. Technology advances. Technology, no new technology is perfect. This craft, I think, was made of carbon fiber, which is very unusual for a submersible, and maybe there's some lessons to be learned about that. Who knows? But I'd be wary of putting impediments in the way of mankind's curiosity, and particularly at the personal level. Obviously sad for friends and relatives, but these adults made adult decisions to take this risk.
Well, it's a good point. And
boy, savage. I guess it's true. Wendy Hamilton, thank you so much for this 5 gift memberships. Amazing. Thank you so much. Deja Vu says, Mel, you're keeping up with the Harmony of Montgomery. Yes, I just haven't covered it yet. I know the documents came out about Kayla describing what happened to Harmony. So yeah, I plan to sometime eventually cover that. Manny, thank you so much for the super chat. Says, sorry, all my emails. Cardi spoke on it. See West Life, I got you already. Moon Bunny, thank you so much. Got that. Mr. and Mrs. Steelers for the 13-month membership. Thank you so much for resubscribing. Give us a consistent great work, Mel. SW4x4 Explorers, 4-month membership, but expected due diligence of equipment. True. Live Life 97 XO, thank you so much. Thank you so much for the membership. Appreciate that. Gracias. Bug Love, thank you for the 3-month membership. Says, been modding for WFLA all day. Need a break. Ellie Ann, thank you for the super chat. Deja Vu got that already. Okay. I wanted to show you guys these 2 videos.
Let's talk to.
We'll keep popping in and out with this Sky News thing. And there was something I wanted to say too, but I forgot already.
To Michael to see what he can tell us. Dr. Michael, good afternoon. Thanks for joining us.
Oh, this is the guy.
Good morning there.
This is the guy that got stuck in the Titanic. They went down to the Titanic. He got stuck at the propeller.
Mike, it's awfully good to see you, considering the circumstances.
Yes.
Obviously, it's not
a very sad moment, really. The Titan was estimated to have had a 96-hour supply of oxygen when it began its voyage. That should now presumably have run out. There doesn't appear to be any sign of anything, really. We heard yesterday that there were some noises recorded by one of the craft monitoring the sea, but that was kind of dismissed as probably not coming from Titan. You've been down there in the depths of the Atlantic. You've seen the Titanic wreckage that they wanted to see. Well, they may have seen it as well. Tell us a little bit about what it's like to be down so far under the surface of the sea.
Well, Mike, it's very hard to relive the situation because I almost lost my own life down there. But, I was invited in September of 2000 when I was the science editor at ABC News to become the first television correspondent to report from the Titanic. My first inclination was to decline because I have a deathly fear of water. I always have my whole life.
Right.
But I thought, this is my job. I'm going to do it. And it sounded interesting to me. I thought this is an opportunity to educate the people about the Titanic and so forth. And so I went, and the dive went very well. Took 2.5 hours to get down. I was on a Russian submarine. We left from Halifax, Nova Scotia. And then we toured the bow, and at the bow, we had a moment of prayer for the people whose lives were lost down there. It hits you really hard, Mike. You go down there thinking you're going to see the wreck of a ship, a very famous ship, and that alone is profound. But then when you get down there, it's hard to describe to you the feeling you have. It's almost like you sense the presence of the people who lost their lives, men, women, and children. It's a profound feeling.
Yeah.
And everything was fine until we started going towards the stern. You recall the Titanic broke into two. The bow went straight down. The stern did a somersault, landed on its back, exposed the propeller. So when we were heading to the stern, my eye caught sight of that propeller. Very shiny, sticks out like a sore thumb. Everything else is gray and drab. And then I sensed that my sub was accelerating, and I thought that was rather odd. We should be decelerating. And next thing I know, we collide with the propeller, but get stuck behind and I later found out, Mike, that the reason
he said there's a current, I think, in the other video,
was we got caught up in an underwater current that just drove us between the inverted poop
I didn't even know that happens underwater, like currents underwater.
And the blades of the propeller. Our sub was much smaller than the blades of this gigantic propeller. And so I knew immediately from the collision and huge pieces of the Titanic.
BBC just tweeted landing frame and rear cover among the debris. Yeah. Okay, let me pull that up too. So I guess that confirms what Sky News was saying.
Titanic started falling down on us, and I was watching all of this through a little 8-inch porthole, and I knew immediately that we were in a life-threatening situation. So we fell silent. We wanted our pilot, Victor, who's a former Russian MiG pilot, to have all the time he needed and all the concentration he needed in order to try to extricate us, because we were in a situation that was very difficult to get out of.
It really is an incredible thing to have done. It must still be sort of with you at all times in a way that you must probably never have a day when you don't think about it.
Yes, Mike. And in the last 72 hours, it's just become like, I can't even begin to tell you. I've had to relive it. And I feel such a kinship to the folks down there, whether they're alive or dead. I feel like I'm down there with them because I know exactly what they've gone through. So yeah, it's been difficult.
And when you are down there, is it deathly quiet? Can you hear anything at all?
It's quiet and it's dark. One of the things that surprised me, even though I'm a scientist and I know about these things, you lose sunlight pretty quickly within 400 feet. It's utter blackness. And most of the trip down, 2.5 hours or so, for us anyway, it's utter blackness. Our pilot every now and again turned on the spotlight we could see, but there's virtually no life down there. You see little rat-tailed fish, a little very delicate sea star, all of them.
The other interview, because Debbie was like post-traumatic stress, the other interview, he almost looked like he was about to cry. I think, yeah, he's still traumatized by this.
White because there's no sunlight, there's no color, so everything is white. And then when you touched down and he turned on the spotlight, it looked like the lunar surface. It was quite remarkable to think, my God, you know, when you swim in a swimming pool and you hit the bottom of the swimming pool, you think, oh, wow, I'm at the bottom of the swimming pool. But then when you're at the bottom of the Atlantic Ocean, Mike, you got to think that that is just an experience that I'll never forget.
Yeah.
It was like landing on the moon.
Yeah. I mean, whenever I've done anything under the sea, which has not been much more than snorkeling really, or maybe diving down, jumping off a boat or something like that, there's always a moment when you're coming up where you think, I just really need to get to the surface. I think I'd be terrified to be that deep, knowing that you can't literally swim back up.
I think that was it. Not only do I have a deathly fear of water, but, you know, tend to be claustrophobic. I had to just suck it up when I got into that sub. It's a 3-man sub, teardrop shaped, very small, no frills. It was originally designed as a scientific vessel. But yeah, you're down there and you're literally buried alive in water, not buried alive in ground, but you're in this tin can and 2.5 miles of water above you. You can imagine that there's just no way out when you get stuck as we did. You can't call a tow service like your car is stuck in a mud and say, hey, get me out of here. No, you're literally helpless. And in our case, we're completely at the mercy of the skills of our pilot. And if it weren't for his skills, we would still be down there. I wouldn't be talking to you. And there was a moment when the thought crossed my mind when I resigned to the fact that I was going to lose my life down there. The thought crossed my mind, and it may seem a little morbid, but it's just what happened, that I was going to join the people who'd lost their lives down there. I mean, I literally had that thought. Wow, I'm going to join the people who lost their lives down here. I'm going to become like a ghost down here, part of the ghostly Titanic gravesite. So it's something that is now mindful of these poor 5 souls down there, whether they're alive or dead. I've been living their hell all over again these last 72 hours or so. And it's woke up this morning hoping for good news, the noises, but as you say, we don't know what are causing the noises. If they're still alive, they're banging on the inside of the sub. It could just be a piece of metal that's come loose and it's just banging against, we just don't know. And these are random noises. There's apparently no code. People are saying SOS. Well, you know what? If I were stuck in that sub down there, I wouldn't be doing an SOS. Just bang on the thing. Just make as much noise as you can, because sound travels fantastically in water, much better than it does in the air. So that's why whale songs can travel halfway around the world. Sound is a very good conductor the ocean is a very good conductor of sound. So I would just be making as much noise, but I'd get my shoe, my cups, I'd be just banging away, or take shifts. There are 5 people. Each person does it for what, banging, 12 minutes, take a rest, but just keep the noise coming. So I don't put a lot of importance in that noise, although I'm still hoping. There's always hope. I won't give up hope until the bitter end. But right now, it takes 2.5 hours, 2 to 3 hours to get down there. So even if we triangulated their location, we'd need 3 transponders at least, or 3 hydrophones, 3 sonar devices, listening devices to triangulate. Then you have to get a submersible that's capable of going to the bottom. When I went down, only the French and the Russians had ships capable of going down to the bottom to withstand the enormous pressures. So at this point, I don't want to say it's hopeless. I never give up hope. They're going to continue the search. Whether we find the vessel or not, Mike, is another story. It took us 73 years. Think about it. The Titanic sank in 1912. It wasn't discovered, the wreck wasn't discovered until 1985 by my good friend Bob Ballard, a marine scientist at Woods Hole in Massachusetts. 73 years to find a gigantic ship. What are the odds we're going to find something that is the size of a mosquito by comparison in this vast ocean?
Well, they found it.
I don't know if we'll ever find the vessel. We may never know what went wrong.
Well, he's keeping it real.
I host a television program on Discovery Channel called Expedition Unknown, and we were thinking about the idea of making a special on Titanic. And so we went up to Ocean Gate's headquarters in Everett, Washington in 2021. This was just before they were going to take their first group of passengers down to Titanic. And we went out with Stockton, the CEO, who is piloting Titan on this current mission as well. And we joined Stockton for a shakedown dive on the sub, taking it out, putting it through its paces there in Puget Sound. and seeing how Titan performed and thinking about whether it would be a good fit for us to film for a show. It's a really striking submarine, as you'll see in the stock footage of it here. It's a very novel design. It doesn't look like any other submersible that has gone down to Titanic before, and a lot of that has to do with how it's made. It's made of carbon fiber hull as opposed to having a steel or a titanium hull, and because it's carbon fiber, it could be made much larger. So it's actually quite a large submarine. Can hold 5 people as opposed to most of the subs that go down to Titanic can only hold 2 or 3. So it's actually quite spacious inside as these kind of subs go. And as I said, it has a very unique design. So it certainly, when you see it, it's a fairly striking craft.
Yeah, Josh, you use words like novel and unique when it comes to its design, and OceanGate itself, when you look at its website, talks about being at the forefront of innovation. In fact, it's so innovative, it's ahead of regulation. Regulation can't keep up with its innovation. But was it safe? Did you get the feeling that it was safe? Did you talk to those that operated it about the safety measures involved and the kind of risks involved? Tell us a bit about that.
Yeah, look, this is one of the really challenging things about a vehicle like this, is that there is almost nothing to benchmark it against. There is no other vehicle like Titan anywhere in the world. It is a one-off. And so evaluating risk for a craft like this is really difficult. We know that carbon fiber is extremely strong. It's what's used to build the Boeing Dreamliner or the Airbus A350. It is a miracle product in a lot of ways. It can be 10 times stronger than steel. But there are real questions about carbon fiber in terms of its fatigue. How does it perform at these kind of pressures and at this kind of
fatigue? That's what we're talking about, like these multiple trips. I thought they had gone, I think they've been doing it for 3 summers. I think they've been down 20 something times, I think I heard. That's what I was wondering about, like fatigue, wear and tear.
A cold temperature after multiple cycles. It's something that's hard to evaluate. And so risk is a very difficult thing to evaluate when it comes to Titan. For us, on the dives that we did, I would say that some of the systems on board performed very well. Some of them didn't perform well at all. We had issues with thrusters. We had issues with computer control aboard. But of course, this was a test designed to kind of get Titan up and running for the voyages it was going to make a few months later. Those kind of things aren't uncommon on a test dive. Having said that, ultimately, I decided to back off of our project because I just couldn't get comfortable ultimately with the design of Titan because there was so little data available about managing that risk and really what it looked like if this sub went up and down as many times as it was going to.
Remind me how long ago that was, because OceanGate and the number of dives it's made since you were there on that sort of maiden shakedown dive, as you call it. It seems that safety wasn't a concern for those going on those trips, and there are waivers involved. Everybody's well aware from the risk that the mention of death, apparently on the first page of the waiver, is mentioned 3 times.
This was in 2021. Yeah, this was in 2021 when we went and did this with OceanGate. That was at the beginning of its real maiden season of bringing passengers out there for the first time. And look, it is described in those waivers as an experimental craft, and I think that it is truly experimental in a very real sense of the word. This is not like boarding a commercial flight on a new airplane. This is like being a test pilot on a plane that has never flown before. And so there's a totally different category of risk with a vehicle like this. I do think the passengers are made aware of a lot of those risks. But again, there are just a huge number of unknowns with a submersible like this. There are elements of Titan where there are real redundancies. There are a lot of ways to drop weights, for instance, on Titan and bring it back to the surface. There's 4 different systems on board to drop weights. There's a computer-controlled system that can vent water in or out of ballast chambers to help it rise up in the ocean. There is a manual valve in Titan to take it.
All the conspiracy people. So I was just looking at my feed and I saw Cinema Shogun. His video popped up about the man that we were just watching, the producer. Oh no, wait. The hell? Let me see what I'm talking about before I even say it. Creepy man on missing Titanic sub predicted his own death in bone-chilling interview. What? The Simpsons fans say somehow say the show predicted the Titanic submarine disappearance years ago. As a video. I don't even know if we could play that, but.
Filled with joy, searching for treasure with my long-lost son.
Oh, that's weird. But
Mama, look! The treasure of Pisa Mahado! No! What do I do?
well, I mean, it's not exactly what happened, but because they say that Simpsons supposedly, the people that watch Simpsons, they say they have like a history of predicting future cataclysmic, how you say, I don't know, events. In the past, the animated TV show has seemingly prophesied bizarre historical events which came to pass, such as Donald Trump 2024 presidential run, the death of Queen Elizabeth. The show may have predicted the disappearance of Ocean Gate submersible. Who was on board? All right, so let me see what was Shogun talking about?
Left.
APH. What a legend. What a legend.
What's up, it's Cinema Shogun here. Research for RMS Titanic Inc., an American company that owns the salvage rights to the famous wreck and displays many of the artifacts at Titanic exhibits around the country. The company conducted 8 research and recovery expeditions between 1987 and 2010. The dozens of dives that Mr. Nargelet has made to the wreck site include previous Ocean Gate expeditions on the Titan, the missing submersible. In 2022, he enabled the discovery of an extraordinary biodiverse ecosystem on a previously unknown formation near the Titanic. So this guy has devoted much of his life to researching the Titanic. He's done over 35 dives. 35 dives. And it just so happens that in a recent interview, a bone-chilling interview at that, in many ways, I would say that he kind of predicts his own death. Now, I'm hoping and praying, fingers.
You can stay about 4 or 5 days on the bottom, which not help very much. Because if nobody can help you, and that 5 days is with the oxygen, with the food, with the water and everything like that. But we know very well that we will die before with the temperature.
So this guy was on the
real problem at this depth is the temperature, because the water temperature is 33 degrees or something like that. And if you are in the sub and nothing is running anymore, making some heat, it's very cold. Even if we have some equipment and blah, 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 after a while you dive because of the cold, which is not a bad way to dive, because you fall in sleep and it's not, you don't suffer in this case. We know that, but we never think that could happen, it never come to our head. But the pilot has to be very careful, because especially on a wreck is a dangerous environment. When you are on on the bottom, we're doing geology or biology, I will say there is no danger, no specific danger. But when you work around a wreck.
So yeah, I mean, That's really creepy hearing.
Okay. That's Cinema Shogun. I put the link to his video, but you can also check out his channel. It's in the description. A good guy. He's been covering the story. He's been doing, he always does like shorter videos and stuff. So if you don't have a lot of time, you just want a quick update. Sometimes it's probably good for me to watch just to see what's going on and then jump on live. All right, so let's finish this video.
Air and add it to bladders on the outside of the sub to bring it up. And there's a hydraulic controlled system that can drop weights off the bottom. And in fact, the entire skid assembly on the bottom of Titan can be dropped using a hydraulic lever, which takes a huge amount of weight off the sub to bring it to the surface. Those sort of things were baked into the design of Titan to make it more safe. But there are other elements of its design that are more challenging. You know, it cannot be opened from the inside. There is no topside hatch on Titan because of the way the carbon fiber hull is built. And so you have these trade-offs. You have an innovative, novel design, but it comes with a lot of mysteries, in terms of how it's going to perform over time.
Yeah, it is a real mystery at the moment while those search and rescue teams try to find it. And Josh, that's really interesting information in terms of the security measures on board the sub, that if something goes wrong, like you said, you've just talked us through a whole raft of things that the crew on board can do. In light of that, what do you think has happened? What could have gone wrong in terms of, it's not floated to the surface? What are the kind of things that could have got awry down there?
It's tough to speculate about this. I think in some ways there are only a handful of things, categories of things that could go wrong. One of the real, challenges here is communication. It's very hard to communicate with untethered subs like this from the surface anyway. But the fact that Titan lost communication on its way down to Titanic, and that they have not received communication since then, would indicate that something went wrong with its systems. Now, it was well off the bottom when that communication was lost, and so using those multiple redundancies of weight drop systems, Titan should have returned to the surface, right? And so the fact that that hasn't happened opens up this whole other question of what are these other possibilities? Look, certainly one of those possibilities is a hull failure. That kind of speaks to the carbon fiber design of Titan, and also a concern in all submersibles, electrical fires, computer failure, things like that. I have to say, I think we're still in the time period here, though this time period is closing, where I think we should remain hopeful. We've got 5 people aboard this sub. We have a young man aboard this sub, and
all right, let's go see some of the more current stuff. That was a video from earlier. And that whole thing too, maybe I'll touch on this real quick while we're at it. So we got Sky News here. See what they're doing real quick. Okay, they're getting set up for the press. The press conference is at 3. We still got a little less than 40 minutes. Or no, 50 some minutes. Or less than 40 actually. I don't know. This article, well, first of all, let me just show this. This is the bolt thing, which Twitter has a new thing now where you can kind of correct the person. You put context. So this guy they use hand ratchets to tighten the bolts on the doomed Titanic submersible, but then it got corrected. While the first object being used to tighten bolts on the pictured sub is a hand ratchet, the second tool is used to ensure proper pressure is a torque wrench, which is also used by naval forces. Over tightening the bolts could lead to a catastrophic failure. Those torque wrenches are gangster. My friend kind of got me into that a little bit. I have some somewhere, I don't know where, for the car. But so this guy took this clip and tried to be like, well, this is how they seal their shit shut with just this little hand thing. Bruh. There's these things are gangster, man. I have a nice one on the car that I never use. I used it like once. I think we used it. I don't know what we used it because I remember we changed the spark plugs once. I don't know if we used that to not break and over tighten the thing. I don't know if you could put a spark plug in that. Use the extension. Or was it just a regular? I don't know. Or was it the wheels for the car? I don't know. It's a really good, handy tool. All right. this other thing too, this was a lot of people talking about this. Titanic tour CEO didn't want to hire 50-year-old white guys because they weren't inspirational. There was the video that we saw. He was talking about, maybe they played here. Let's see. Commercial or something. The ill-fated voyage. This Ocean Gate CEO who was trapped on an ill-fated voyage to see the Titanic wreck once explained that how he didn't hire 50-year-old white guys with military experience to captain his vessels because they weren't inspirational. Stockton added that such expertise was unnecessary because anybody can drive the sub with a $30 video game controller. Bro. When I started the business, one of the things that you'll find, there are other sub operators out there, but they typically have gentlemen who are ex-military submariners, and you'll see a whole bunch of 50-year-old white guys. This is a Rush told Teleminute Marine in a newly resurfaced, undated Zoom interview. I wanted our team to be younger, to be inspirational, and I'm not going to inspire a 16-year-old to go pursue marine technology, but a 25-year-old, you know, who's a sub pilot for a platform operator or one of our techs can be inspirational. So we've tried to get really intelligent, motivated, younger individuals involved because we're doing things that are completely new. Amazing. So screw the experts. We're going to bring in some young blood. They can't be white. All right. Well, he was saying that they were all white guys, but whatever. Moon Bunny, thank you so much for the super chat. Says the wreck of Titan by Morgan Robertson shows an eerie resemblance to what unfolded the night of April 14 and 15, 1912. It is even more eerier. I know, right? Blue. Lily sent me this on. This gives you an idea of the complex process James Cameron had to go through. It took over 3 years to talk about the danger of water pressure. Let's take a look. Amazing. Wow. I mean, if that's what happened, you know, they would, I guess they wouldn't feel nothing, wouldn't really see nothing. It would just be, I guess, instantaneous. Wow. I want to watch this too.
To Michael to see what he can tell us.
Oh, no, we watched this already. There was another one I wanted to look at. So we're just kind of hanging out, waiting now for the press conference. Great pre-conference. Great interview pre-conference. Thanks. Who was that, sir? Oh, no, that was Penelope. Thank you. All right. Let's watch. I don't know if I can play much of this. 5 most mysterious underwater sounds ever recorded. Okay. We'll skip around.
The ocean. It's a huge and mostly unexplored place on our planet, and an incredible 95% of all the oceans in the world still remains unseen by humans. This leaves the burning question of what could be lurking in the unexplored areas. Many experts believe that given the vastness of the ocean, it would not be a surprise if some pretty large animals still remain undiscovered. And there's certainly no denying that when talking about the unexplored deep sea, the first thing people tend to think of is the possibility of mythical and terrifying sea creatures. And although this thought is amazing, it's equally terrifying. Now, over the years, there have been many mysterious sounds.
Pearl Jump says, James Cameron, the guy we're just watching, went more than twice the depth as the Titanic. Wow. Wow.
Captured by underwater devices that to this day have no real explanation. So have a listen to these and see what you think. I recommend you wear some headphones to better hear the sounds, and let's get started with 5 of the most mysterious underwater sounds ever recorded.
I can't play this. It was a copyright detection. They'll shut down the stream. Oh boy, that was close. All right, we'll have to do that another time. All right, let's see. Good thing I was paying attention. I had a feeling with that channel. I had a feeling they have some sort of auto system. Let me see what's going on here on the side too. Long crime. They got less people today. Maybe everybody's watching the submarine stuff. And even no jumpers covering the submarine. The Titanic runs out of oxygen as search continues. What? I'll just take a quick snoop.
Don't want to be the nigga that say that.
Oh Lord! All right, let's see.
Welcome back to the program. We're going to continue with that breaking news. Now, the question, of course, is it the breaking news we've all been dreading? The U.S. Coast Guard has said that a debris field has been found in the search area for the missing Titanic submersible, and that experts are now analysing that data. Rear Admiral Roger Lane-Knott, who's a former NATO commander, joins me on the program again. Simon Boxall, a lecturer in oceanography, remains with me. Rear Admiral, thank you for coming back. Obviously, the scenario has changed, but still we're not 100% sure that this debris field is Titan, are we?
No, we're not. We're not. It could be anything really. But if that French submarine has gone down there, you may recall earlier I said that I thought the most likely situation was that it would be on the bottom, fairly near to the Titanic. But whether that happened earlier and whether it imploded down there, if that is the case, or whether it happened on the way down, we don't know. I mean, they'll have to analyze the debris exactly. And until we hear the Coast Guard press conference at 8 o'clock tonight,
great timing, right?
Time, we probably won't know until that debris has been analyzed.
And Rear Admiral, how do they go about harvesting the samples from this debris field and then analyzing it?
So the bloop. So we can, the 1997, okay, let me see. Bloop in the ocean. I want to know about the ocean's mysteries and the deep sea creatures. 1997 bloop sound. Hold on, what video can I play that they're not going to try to take this shit down? The bloop mysterious ocean sound louder than any creature. Wish there was like a news thing or. Let me do this. I have an idea. I want to hear the bloop sound. Weirdest underwater sound ever recorded.
I'm mostly from Tennessee, which is landlocked. As a kid, my grandparents owned a little cottage on the Jersey Shore, and I used to spend about 6 weeks every summer there on the shore. So maybe that's what got me into the business. Listening to the waves at night.
In the summer of 1997, an underwater hydrophone array recorded an unusual ultra-low frequency sound emanating from a point of 1,500 miles west of the southern coast of Chile. Let me get a bigger screen for you guys. Let's see. It was detected on hydrophones located 3,000 kilometers apart, making it the loudest unidentified underwater sound ever recorded. It lasted for 1 minute. It was never heard again. Oh, shit. It was called the bloop.
I'd be happy to give you the story. It's a good one.
Is that it?
But this was back in the late 1980s. Most of the work that had been done in underwater acoustic surveillance had been done classified within the military. we hooked in the Navy's system in August of '91. So we had a laboratory that was collecting continuously these the signals from the Navy's underwater listening systems, and having these blue and red colorful spectrograms streaming by on the screens, and routinely marking into a logbook.
Oh, it's on the
here's
website?
A whale, here's this, here's that.
Oh, that's it?
But there were occasionally, rarely, but occasionally there were sounds that we just could not identify. I remember one sound in particular. We called it bloop because when you listen to it, it sounds like bloop. It's captivating because we don't know what it was and it doesn't recur. It lasted about a minute. It's heard simultaneously on hydrophones that are thousands of kilometers apart. This is heard 5,000 miles away, so it's very, very loud. And of course, it's very, very low. A long rising sound. So it's
What?
Within 10, 15 minutes, you'd have everybody in the whole team, which is about a dozen of us, all gathered around trying to think of explanations and trying to think of ways that we could enhance it. So it was like a detective work. I actually took it to the very classified innards of the United States Navy intelligence people to see if I thought it might actually be some sort of a military system that I wasn't familiar with, and I took it to them, and they said, nope, it's not ours. It didn't seem to be man-made.
Oh, shit.
We considered every possibility, and including animal
Hey, thank you guys on Facebook for being here. Got 400 people on Facebook.
Other things in nature that make that sound are blue whales for whatever reason. But very quickly we understood that when we looked at the volume of the sound, certainly it is loud, much louder than the loudest animal sound that we are aware of. Many more times more.
So this audio here, it was the recorded signal has been sped up 16 times. I guess they had to do that in order to, I don't know, because of the water, I'm thinking. The sound was recorded in May 1997 on the eastern equatorial Pacific Ocean, autonomous hydrophone array. The origin and source location are 1530 near 62 degrees south, 60 degrees west. This is an area off of the Antarctica Peninsula with numerous islands and shoals. And it is highly probable that the sound was produced by a large iceberg. Oh no! As it became grounded. The sound slowly descends in frequency over 7 minutes as the drifting iceberg slows at the stop once it comes in contact with the seafloor. However, it was of sufficient amplitude to be heard on 3 sensors at 110 degrees west and 8 degrees south and 0 and 8 north at a range of nearly 5,000 kilometers. The South American continent blocked the Great Circle path from the numerous times as large icebergs run aground. Once after the slowdown occurs, a speed up follows in seismic eye and, oh my God, I'm butchering all this shit, and seismicity associated with local slack tide. This has been interpreted to reflect the acoustic energy of the grounded. No, that's not fun. it's solved, I guess. I mean, that's what they tell us. Maybe that's just what they want us to think.
They've got exactly the right machinery and technology in position, but I don't know how it works. And I think people will want to know how they will go about bringing it to the surface, or maybe just testing it below the surface. I don't know. You'll tell me.
Well, I think there are two things, really. One, they'll look at the pictures that they're taking, which they clearly have been taking. So they'll have that visual approach as best as you can from TV pictures. But of course, this particular vessel has got pincers and grabs that it can pick up bits and pieces and bring them to the surface. But I suspect that's what they'll try and do. But I would have thought that they should be able to make a fairly good assessment from the pictures, which are in fact being beamed up, as I understand it, through the umbilical cord from this remotely operated vehicle.
So
you can see it there. You can see it there, and
Yes.
they will have there's grabbers and pinchers on the front that will allow them to actually pick things up. It's a question of how widely spread it is and how far away it is from the actual Titanic wreck. Well, we just don't know that yet, do we?
No, but if the shards or the crumbs of matter, I don't know what they're going to look like. I'm going to ask you that right now. If they do turn out to be from Titan, what might they look like? What sorts of things will be being analysed and assessed? How small are they likely to be, or large? What are they likely to be made of? That kind of thing.
Well, I think it'll be a mixture of things, really. There'll be some carbon fibre from the shroud that goes round the pressure hull. There's likely to be some titanium pieces, depending on whether it crashed into the seabed or whether it in fact imploded on the way down or even down there. We just don't know, and they'll have to choose their pieces fairly carefully to give some sort of certainty to what they're actually seeing, that it isn't something completely different.
And do we have any idea of what sorts of things might cause a vessel like that to implode on the way down, if indeed that's what happened? I know we're not sure it is, but if it has happened, why would it implode? What would be the cause of that type of a thing?
Well, it'll either be a hull failure or some form of a mechanical malfunction, or I mean, you can speculate as long as you like here, but effectively, if there was oxygen on board, if there was electrical sparks, if they had any power, that could have caused a fire that would have heated up, and then it would have broken up. So it's too difficult to speculate, but there's all sorts of things. But I think the important thing is to get really good TV pictures, which they will be doing, and for this submersible to grab some relevant pieces, big enough to be able to see whether it's pieces of titanium, pieces of fiberglass, other bits of equipment. It's difficult because they haven't explained how big the debris field is, and whether it's in a relatively small area or a large area. My reading of what they said, what we've heard so far, is that it's probably in a relatively small area. Otherwise, the French ROV would probably have struggled to find it, even with its lights, bearing in mind they can probably only see 20, 30, 40 feet ahead.
And Rear Admiral,
that's what I was saying too. They can't see that. Their visibility is still hard down there.
We're only surmising, we're only positing theories here. I know we don't yet have the results. We don't know of what we speak. But for the US Coast Guard to have issued this information several hours prior to the press conference, which, as you say, isn't happening till 8 o'clock our time, for them to have said a debris field has been found, do we suppose they might have a pretty strong idea that they think it is Titan?
Well, I personally say I don't think they would have given that out if they didn't have a pretty strong idea of what it was or what it might be, and they're just not prepared to speculate until they've analysed it a bit more. And that's perfectly reasonable, really. We've got to give them time to actually assess what they've actually seen. You've got a TV picture, and that's about it, really.
Yes.
So
I don't know if this is true, but keep in mind we're just picking this off of Twitter. This person posted, let me get the big screen. It imploded, it had a leak, and they knew it and said nothing about it. It happened when they lost contact. A seismic activity station in the area picked up an explosion. Video shows June 11th and left on the 18th, so this ain't it. Already debunked. Oh, they're saying here they knew. That's the point. They knew about the leak on the 11th and still went on the 18th. This alleged video is evidence of a no leak days earlier. Seismic info is indeed for June 18th. Let's see. So yeah, the 18th was Sunday. If you're implying in the conversation is moot because it's on the 11th, you're blatantly ignore the fact that the prep and the safety checks have to happen before submersible be usable. Let me see what this says. I don't know. So June 11th, an Ocean Gate crew member uploaded this post while preparing for the Titan trip. My office this week, a foggy day in the North Atlantic that lifted slightly in the evening as we prepped the sub for diving a pod of pilot whales. Okay. Went by the platform. Grateful to be here. That's Riley Lively's TikTok. I know her. June 11th, an Ocean Gate crew member uploaded this post while preparing for the trip.
Okay. Forward starboard tank. All the valves are closed, and there is a little leak in the top.
Forward starboard tank. All the valves are closed, and there is a little leak. I hear sometimes there's been attacks. Those orcas attack the boats.
Be careful, Renata.
I don't know, man. I don't know. I don't know if that's true or not, but it's interesting. Be careful scrolling Twitter too. You don't know what's gonna pop up on Twitter. Wild, wild west.
You haven't got a person looking at it, so I think we've got to wait until 8 o'clock and hear what they actually say they found.
Oh, right. They just did say. I said orcas, but they did say pilot whales. Yeah.
My feeling is that sadly, it might have imploded on the way down, on the latter stages of it, or it might have imploded when it actually hit the bottom. But again, it's speculation from me, and it's desperately sad. And I hope I'm completely wrong in all my assessments of what I think it is, and that it may be debris from something completely different. We just don't know at this moment.
Okay, I echo your sentiments, of course. Let's hope it isn't. But what will be going on between now and 8 o'clock, would you say? Who will be assessing and analysing? Is it something done purely by some kind of AI or robots or some kind of computer, or are there people doing it?
Well, there'll be an initial assessment, I suspect, in the French ship, because they will have all of the recordings of the video from the submersible. But I suspect they'll send that pretty quickly to the Coast Guards and the Opcon Centre, and then I suspect analysts from Woods Hole, from the US Navy, from the Canadian Navy, and of course the Coast Guard will be having a pretty clever, careful assessment what actually it is. But I would be surprised if the French team used to operating this craft and actually used to analyzing what they see in front of them.
Stand your ground, friend.
Oh. What's that? What? Oh, that's what it said. It imploded.
Stand your ground, friend.
They over here trying to play it off and starts watering it back. Bro, you better run.
I would think they would probably give a pretty good feeling of what it is.
And I'm assuming that one of the things that has to happen between now and 8 o'clock, if indeed they find that their suspicions are confirmed and that the fragments and the debris are part of the submersible, would be speaking to family and making some kind of proper human contact before these sorts of pieces of information are released.
As I understand it, they've been in touch with the family all the way along through this, and that I suspect the family are fully engaged in giving their views on what they would like to see or not see, or what they would like to happen throughout the whole of this. What are the various steps that the Coast Guard have taken? I'm sure that's been done, although it's obviously the coordination centre's responsibility to decide and make the decisions. I'm sure that they've been in very close contact with the families throughout this to make sure that they are happy with what they're doing and where they're going with this.
Okay, we're almost there for the presser. Keeping it. Oh, they're getting set up over here. No jumper. Covering the story. All right. Let me see what else we got. So we covered that. Let me see if there's any new stuff. I did want to watch this a little bit. I don't think we watched this already. Did we watch this?
Oxygen are running out.
In any search and rescue case, you look at all the different factors. How long we've been searching, what the survivability is, the oxygen on board. There is more than just one piece, and right now we're focusing on the search.
More rescue vessels are joining the effort, but searching for the small Titan in the near freezing and pitch black conditions on the ocean floor is challenging.
If I were a family member, I would remain hopeful, but people generally do not come back from the bottom of the ocean.
Captain David Marquet was the naval commander of the submarine USS Santa Fe.
Do you find it odd that there is no method of communication that the passengers could have had?
No, I find it ominous. I find that it's a signal that crew's incapacitated.
I don't think they had a pinger or anything, though. They were just communicating by text message.
Yeah, it's a commercial organization. They're trying to be really innovative and cutting edge. On our submarines, we would have more devices, but we have a nuclear submarine that costs $2 billion. So we have the luxury of having all those kind of things.
OceanGate has faced criticism for years.
This company decided to self-certify.
Engineer Bart Kemper was part of a marine technology group that expressed concerns in 2018.
It follows no code and follows no jurisdiction.
Kemper said the company agreed to be more transparent with passengers, but continued to operate as an experimental vessel without what the group said is typical certification.
How rare is it for something like this to happen?
We have not lost a non-military submersible before. We've had failures, we've had fatalities, but we've never had this type of incident happen before.
More search vehicles have been joining the effort, including a French deep diving robot that could help release a trapped vessel. But even if teams do find and free the Titan before time runs out, it would still be a challenge to bring it to the surface. Henry?
Roxana, thank you. So I want to bring in Art Trembanis. He's a professor of marine science and policy at the University of Delaware. And Professor, you have also actually worked with OceanGate in the past. You know some of the members on board the vessel. In what capacity did you work with the company? What was your experience like?
Yes, good morning, Anne-Marie. This is a somber day for us in the marine technology and ocean exploration community. These are friends and colleagues. Two of the passengers, like myself, are members of the Explorers Club. Also, Stockton.
Jesus Frog, thank you so much for the super chat. Says Mel, when can we see the pistol shrimp video before you leave today? Oh, can we see? Yeah, I'll try to find one. And thank you again for everything you do for us. You have the best mods. Thank you in chat. Y'all are my extended family. Thank you. Appreciate that, man. That shrimp video, I don't know if they're causing problems yesterday. I don't know why they would do that. There's people here, but I'd like a better quality one. I'll keep Sky News on the backup.
In the hearing then, seeing the people that were responsible for taking us to where we are, yeah.
Today we began to understand a little more about the tensions that would have existed between the government and its own advisors. We'll learn much more when the next phase of the module begins in the autumn, but we might not have to wait that long. Next week, the full health secretary.
Amy, thanks for the super chat. Says from CNN, debris found within the search area 500 meters off the bow, the front of the Titanic. Okay, thank you. Yeah, we've been talking about it. I don't think we've mentioned, we didn't know the locate, like where at the Titanic, so the front of it. Okay. Pistol shrimp are fun, but shotgun shrimps are more fun. Are they really? Or are you just being? I get the joke. Yeah. So. I heard about that. There was also an ocean tragedy in Greece. 78 people died, and hundreds missing when a tanker boat went underwater. Damn.
This is podium, 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 podium. Podium, podium, audio level, check test 1, 2. Is about my height, Sorry, I don't have white balance for you. Audio level, check test 1, 2, 3, 4. Check, 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 check. 12? Okay. Check test 1, 2, audio 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Are they happy? Can you do this one? This, yes.
Experts calling it a catastrophic failure.
Right. Okay. Good point.
Richie, thank you for the 6-month membership. Thank you so much for resubscribing. Says thank y'all. Thank for all y'all do, Mel and mods. You guys are a blessing in this world. Stockton is such a con artist. Oh shit. Such a tragedy. Much love to the family. Mic check, mic check. 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. Mic check. Discord, okay. Pistol. I want a shrimp. I want a shrimp, man. Pistol shrimp. Thanks, Oni. I just gotta be really careful. Like these National Geographic videos, more than likely I play it, they're gonna shut down the stream. They're just very highly sensitive when you're using their clips. I don't think I can play that. Even using it in a video, like it's just a problem. That shit looks so gangster though. Those shrimps, man. Yeah, I have another one I'm back up to for audio. Navy diver on mission sub. This is a very difficult salvage operation. Well, I don't know. Wonder what they're gonna say. Ocean Gate making the statement that all lives lost. Really? Oh, where'd they make that at? Twitter or let me see. Thank you, Amy. I mean, they must have more info, right? Than us. CNN? Oh, CNN made a live statement. Okay, thank you. On TV, I guess, huh? Oh, look at that. The judge sat down with Court TV from the Murdoch trial.
I sentence you. Go through the most. Imagine him having a peaceful night.
Oh, it's NBC?
Knowing.
Oh, this is good.
What he did. Felt sorry for him. I wanted to give him an opportunity to say something.
And that's taken a lot of people back. He felt sorry for Alec Murdoch, the double murderer, the killer. I want to play you some of the back and forth between Judge Newman and Alec Murdoch during the sentencing. Might give you a little more perspective for why he would say, hey, I feel sorry for Alec Murdoch, the double killer.
Why do you say it like that?
And I know you have to see Paul and Maggie during the night times when you're attempting to go to sleep. I'm sure they come and visit you.
This shit was deep. When this happened,
Sure.
All day and every night.
Yeah, I'm sure. And they will continue to do so. And reflect on the last time they looked you in the eyes, as you looked the jury in the eyes. I don't know person who's always been such a gregarious, friendly person and cause her life to be tangled in such a web.
Jurors.
Situation that you
Jurors.
have spun into. And it's so unfortunate because you had such a lovely family of such
and
you.
let's see. I want the source of this shit. I want the source of this shit. That's dope, though. Wasn't this a long time ago?
The trial grabbed headlines around the world. And
The judge is just speaking out for the first time about the case.
the high-profile case.
I probably shouldn't have been surprised. High-profile lawyer, death of a wife, death of a child, accusations of stealing millions of dollars from clients, allegations of a lawyer hooked on drugs. It had all the ingredients for something of major public interest.
It all started on the night of June 7th, 2021, when Alec Murdoch called police, claiming he found his...
I wanted to get
abuse. Boom, jurors.
with
at all? Less than 3 hours to convict Murdoch. Were you surprised at all by the speed with which the jury came back with the verdict?
I wasn't. My experience in recent years is that jurors don't take a long time deliberating after they've spent
so much time,
weeks and weeks and weeks listening to testimony and
Sled.
evidence.
Last March, Judge Newman sentenced Murdoch to 2 life sentences while declaring he'd be forced to live with what he'd done.
Within your own soul, you have to deal with that at night. Pretty powerful. You're attempting to go to sleep. I'm sure they come and visit you.
Pretty powerful.
Yeah.
You think that he'll be haunted by his wife and son?
No, I think so. It has to be. I cannot imagine him having a peaceful night knowing what he did. I'm sure if he had an opportunity to do it over again, he'd never do it.
Judge Newman's reserved demeanor on the bench, drawing many admirers. His story made more impressive by where it started, in a segregated school in a small South Carolina town, inspired by the landmark case Brown versus the Board of Education. He went to law school and became a prosecutor before
look at
becoming
him.
a judge
Look
in
at old
2000.
school. Oh shit.
One of his daughters, Jocelyn, following in his footsteps, is now a state judge too.
So growing up, you would see Dad in court, in action.
It was kind of scary. He was a good prosecutor. I would sit in the jury box and watch him at work.
Judge Newman and her father talk often. In fact, they even share the same.
That was interesting. Update. People are using a lot of this stuff with the happened to somebody just posted this, the rich and the poor. People on Twitter are upset and stuff. My only commentary
Mic check, mic check, mic check, mic check. Microphone check.
PJ, thank you for the
Microphone check.
5-month
Mic check,
membership.
mic check.
Thank you. Mel, the statement is on Breaking 9/11. Breaking 9/11. What is that? Out on YouTube or like a page or something? Breaking 9/11. Let's see. Oh, what that is? Okay, here it is. Facebook? No, I don't see it on Facebook. I see a page on Facebook, but I don't see the post. Oh, you're saying it's accurate, though. Oh, shit. Oh! Let me see. Oh, it's about to, should be starting. Here we go.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining us today and over the past few days. This
Like this
afternoon, Rear Admiral John Mauger will be providing an update
know why
on
this
the
was
most
zoomed in.
recent findings from ROV operations in search of the Titan submersible. He will provide a brief statement and provide the opportunity for questions after. Please limit your questions to one per outlet. Following the briefing, the Joint Information Center staff and I will be here to help you with any of your further needs. May I now please introduce Rear Admiral John Mauger.
They paid to disappear?
This morning, an ROV, or remote operated vehicle, from the vessel Horizon Arctic discovered the tail cone of the Titan submersible approximately 1,600 feet from the bow of the Titanic on the seafloor. The ROV subsequently found additional debris. In consultation with experts from within the Unified Command, the debris is consistent with the catastrophic loss of the pressure chamber.
Oh.
Upon this determination, we immediately notified the families. On behalf of the United States Coast Guard and the entire Unified Command, I offer my deepest condolences to the families. I can only imagine what this has been like for them, and I hope that this discovery provides some solace during this difficult time. Additionally, we've been in close contact with the British and French consuls general to ensure that they are fully apprised and that their concerns are being addressed. The outpouring of support in this highly complex search operation has been robust and immensely appreciated. We are grateful for the rapid mobilization of experts on the undersea search and rescue, and we thank all of the agencies and personnel for their role in the response. We're also incredibly grateful for the full spectrum of international assistance that's been provided. The ROVs will remain on scene and continue to gather information. Again, our most heartfelt condolences go out to the loved ones of the crew. We'll now take questions.
John, what other debris have you found? John, what other debris have you found? Can you talk about the delay in reporting the vessel missing and what impact that had on the recovery? Search and recovery.
This was a incredibly complex case, and we're still working to develop the details for the timeline involved with this casualty and the response. And so we'll provide that.
James Matthews from Sky News. John, what other debris have you found? And have you found any trace of those who were on board?
So this is an incredibly complex operating environment on the seafloor, over 2 miles beneath the surface. And so the remote operating vehicle has been searching, and it is highly capable. And we've been able to classify parts of the pressure chamber for the Titan submersible. Let me refer to one of my undersea experts here, Mr. Paul Hankin, to talk about the nature of some of the debris.
Thank you, Admiral. So essentially, we found 5 different major pieces of debris that told us that it was the remains of the Titan. The initial thing we found was the nose cone, which was outside of the pressure hull. We then found a large debris field. Within that large debris field, we found the front end bell of the pressure hull. That was the first indication that there was a catastrophic event. Shortly thereafter, we found a second smaller debris field. Within that debris field, we found the other end of the pressure hull, the aft end bell, which was basically comprised the totality of that pressure vessel. We continue to map the debris field, and as the Admiral said, we will do the best we can to fully map out what's down there.
Admiral, if I may. Thank you very much. It's a very difficult question to ask, but it will be an important one for the families, of course. What are the prospects of recovery of the bodies of missing?
So the questions was related. I'm restating the question from the standpoint of sometimes it's hard to hear the question here. What are the prospects for recovering crew members. And so this is a incredibly unforgiving environment down there on the seafloor. And the debris is consistent with a catastrophic implosion of the vessel. And so we'll continue to work and continue to search the area down there, but I don't have an answer for prospects at this time.
Admiral, it's Tom Costello at NBC News. Is there any suggestion, any suggestion at all that the sub itself collided with the wreckage of Titanic, or that instead it might have imploded above the wreckage and then rained down nearby?
So the question was, is there any question as to whether or not the sub collided with the Titanic or whether it imploded above and debris field created from that? So the location of the Titan submersible was in an area that was approximately 1,600 feet from the wreck of the Titanic. I have an expert here that is familiar with that area and can talk about the debris field and what the debris field indicates in terms of where the casualty may have occurred.
Rear Admiral, really quickly, can you tell me when that...
Wait, let's get the expert voice, please. Hang on a second.
they're fighting.
The expert voice is coming up to answer the question.
Thank you, Admiral. So the question is, where does the wreck lie in relation to the Titanic? I didn't hear the Admiral's answer. I think 1,600 feet. Was that correct, Admiral?
Yep, you got it.
So that's off the bow of Titanic. It's in an area where there is not any debris of Titanic. It is a smooth bottom. To my knowledge and anything I've seen, there's no Titanic wreckage in that area. And again, 200 plus meters from the bow. And consistent with the location of last communication for an implosion in the water column. And the size of the debris field is consistent with that implosion in the water column.
What would cause the implosion? In terms of the timing here, you say that this was a catastrophic implosion. And I know it's early on, but is it your estimation that this happened right at the moment when they lost contact, an hour and 45 minutes after their descent?
So the question was about the timing of the catastrophic implosion. Right now, it is too early to tell with that. We know that as we've been prosecuting this search over the course of the last 72 hours and beyond, that we've had sonar buoys in the water nearly continuously and have not detected any catastrophic events when those sonar buoys have been in the water. So,
Admiral, can you describe what happens from here, sir, in the next days and weeks in terms of finding any more debris? What happens from here?
So we will, the question was, what happens from here? What's the next phase? And so right now, again, our thoughts are with the families and making sure that they have an understanding as best as we can provide of what happened and begin to find some closure. In terms of the large process, we're going to continue to investigate the site of the debris field. And then I know that there's also a lot of questions about how, why, and when did this happen. And so, those are questions that we will collect as much information as we can on now, while the governments are meeting and discussing, what an investigation of this nature of a casualty might look like. This is something that happened. I'll just remind everybody. This is something that happened in a remote portion of the ocean with people from several different countries around the world. And so it is a complex case to work through, but I'm confident that those questions will begin to get answered.
Will the Coast Guard lead the investigation, sir?
From the UK. Is there any suggestion that time factors, speed, anything could have prevented this or save the 5 people on board, or is this quite simply a catastrophic accident?
The question was there any suggestion that time factors may have played a role or consideration in the casualty here? And so the debris field is consistent with a catastrophic implosion of the vessel. Again, while we were prosecuting the search, we had listening devices in the water throughout and did not hear any signs of catastrophic failure from those. And so we're going to continue to investigate, or we're going to continue to document the information there and understand, based on all the information we have, the timeline.
What does it mean for the resources required for the investigation? Which ships will be pulling out and coming in?
So the question was, what are the resources required for the investigation, and which ships will be pulling out and staying in? And so it's too early for me to talk about an investigation. That's a decision that's going to be taken outside of the search and efforts that I was leading. But we do have a number of vessels. We have 9 vessels on the scene right now. We had medical personnel on scene. We had other technicians on scene. And so we will begin to demobilize personnel and vessels from the scene over the course of the next 24 hours. But we're going to continue remote operations on the seafloor. And I don't have a timeline for when we would intend to stop remote operations on the seafloor at this point.
As a result of this, do you think there should be changes in the way these are safety rated or inspected so that this won't happen again?
Yeah, the question was essentially about, do you think that there should be changes in safety ratings or inspection for these standards? I know that there's a lot of questions about why, how, when this happened, and the members of the Unified Command, have those questions too, as professionals and experts that work in this environment. And this is an incredibly difficult and dangerous environment to work in out there. But those questions about the regulations that apply and the standards, that's going to be, I'm sure, focus of future review. Right now, we're focused on documenting the scene and continuing the subfloor.
I know we don't know the timing here. We don't know the timing here, but there was the banging noises yesterday that redirected and redeployed the ROVs to this area. Is there anything conclusive in those noises, and did that redirection and then finding this debris field today all help?
So throughout the search efforts, we reacted to the information that we had available to us. And while we continue to send it off for deeper analysis, again, really complex operating environment for us to work in. Let me check with the experts, but there doesn't appear to be any connection between the noises and the location on the seafloor. Again, this was a catastrophic implosion of the vessel, which would have generated a significant broadband sound down there that the sonar buoys would have picked up.
Admiral, a lot of questions about who might be.
Admiral, you mentioned closure for the families. Admiral, can I just ask you about your comment regarding the families?
Reporter.
They arrived early this morning. It seems that Swiftly was able to find a debris field and covered up the speed of that. And also, were all of the assets involved moved as swiftly as possible to the area? And was any help turned away, as some lawmakers have criticized the government?
This was a incredibly complex operation, and we were able to mobilize an immense amount of gear to the site in just a really remarkable amount of time. given the fact that we started without any sort of vessel response plan for this or any sort of pre-stage resources. And so the equipment that was brought on site this morning that we were using was a pelagic ROV capable of operating at 6,000 meters, cameras, sonar, other articulating arms and resources on it. And it, we had to transport it here through C-17 aircraft. This is 2 aircraft that it took to get this up here. And so we've really had the right gear on site and worked as swiftly as possible to bring all of the capabilities that we had to bear to this search and rescue effort. And it was just a huge international and interagency effort to make this happen. So I'm really grateful for all of the responders that came out to support this and really, search for the vessel. It is a difficult day for all of us, and it's especially difficult for the families, and our thoughts are with the families today. But this was an immense support, and we had the right gear on the bottom to find it. So
Admiral, you mentioned Admiral.
Got it.
Will you attempt to recover the bodies, can we ask you? Those
just asked
victims,
about
will
that.
they be recovered?
Thank you so much, everyone, for attending this afternoon.
That was sick. Cut it.
There are no future
Shake his
planned
head.
press conferences.
Ooh, no more press conferences.
Well, we've been listening there to Rear Admiral John Malga, the
What's that? Cut
first Coast Guard District Commander, bringing the news that the Titan submersible debris field that was found earlier is in fact the submersible, and that it was destroyed in what was consistent with an implosion. The debris field found some 1,600 feet from the bow of the Titanic. When asked whether or not the bodies of those who were on board, those 5
I don't think there is
individuals, would be recovered, he was unable to say because of the nature of the implosion of that Titan submersible. Let's bring in our international correspondent, John Sparks, who's been following this
I don't know how that
from
works.
St. John's in
If they
Newfoundland,
could and
from
what they
where,
could, it's even possible.
This voyage began. And John, we've had the details there from John Malga, the details, I guess, that families feared hearing, but which perhaps they had expected.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, a lot of information that was given in that press conference, and we can go over it quickly in a second. But he said, look, difficult day for all of us, and an especially difficult day for members of the family. He was absolutely categorical. That vessel has been lost. It suffered a catastrophic rupture, a catastrophic implosion. The 5 men on board have lost their lives. They are dead. It was categorical, sad, but categorical. Let's go through some of the details. They put an ROV, one of these remote deep sea vehicles. They put it in the sea this morning from a ship called the Horizon Arctic. I understand that ROV was supplied by the US Navy. It gave them the ability to get right to the bottom of the ocean floor. It gave them eyes on the bottom of the ocean floor, and that is the first time they've had that skill, they've had that ability, and I think that's what's generated the news and their findings. With that ROV, they were able to find this. They found a field of debris. It started with a nose cone, the nose cone of the submersible, the Titan. They then found a debris field, the first debris field, past the nose cone. They then found the front of the pressure hull. I assume that is the main part of the structure. They then found a second debris field, and then they found more debris. And they found it 1,600 feet from the wreck. That is relatively close to the wreck of the Titanic. Off the bow, said one of the experts, it was in a smooth part of the ocean floor.
That's what they were saying, because at one point the guy was asking, like, oh, could they have possibly gone down there and then hit the boat or something like that? And that's what caused it. Or could they have gotten down there and imploded down there waiting for them? waiting for help, but he's saying everything's consistent with they imploded on the way down. Laura, thank you so much for the super chat. Says Rush ignored all warnings of safety, ignored safety regulations, and refused any communication device on board. Yeah. Well, Dragon, thank you for the 6-month membership. Says thanks, Bell, for being you. Thank you. And Froggy Maggie, thank you for the membership. Says love this channel. Thanks.
There's no other debris from the Titanic there. It suggests they would have had a clear look at it. They are absolutely certain of what they were looking at. As you said, they were asked about the bodies. What are you going to do about the bodies? And they weren't able to give an answer. That will certainly be a question that will be asked again. Friends and family of those who have been lost, they will want to know as well. But it is an incredibly complex operation, as we were told multiple times, and it remains so. It remains a complicated operation. Very, very difficult to search 4 kilometers underneath the ocean, recovering parts of the structure, recovering bodies will be a very difficult thing to do. But absolutely certain about what happened, an implosion. I think one fascinating thing that came through that press conference, they were asked by journalists about the timings. Do they know when this happened? And what we heard was that the sonar buoys that were put in the water didn't pick up an implosion. It didn't pick up any sort of explosion. Those buoys would have gone in the water on Monday, about 24 hours roughly after the Polar Star, the ship, the supply ship that put the submersible into the water on Sunday morning, after it reported it missing. That was Sunday evening. We know the Canadian patrol flights then went out the next day. They put these sonar buoys in. So we heard from that press conference that those sonar buoys did not pick up any sound of an explosion. That suggests that this happened early on. This happened early on after the submersible Titan was put into the water. I would suggest
it would have been immediate milliseconds.
You're watching the News Hour. Let's return to the search for the missing submersible. The US Coast Guard has said that a debris field has been found by, well, my thoughts are with you.
Well, thank you.
Because this looks to have been a catastrophic event.
Apparently so. They don't use phrases like debris field unless there's no chance of a recovery of the men alive. A debris field implies a breakup of the submersible, and at that depth, because we know that they lost communications with it at about 3,300 meters. Titanic is just 3,750. So that really sort of indicates what is the worst case scenario, which is a catastrophic failure. Generally, that's an implosion. The only saving grace about that is that it would have been immediate, literally in milliseconds, and the men would have had no idea what was happening. That was my fear on Monday morning.
Was it?
When I got the call at 7 o'clock that Hamish was missing in a submersible, and then they told me where it was, the dive on Titanic. It was the first dive. That's a bad sign.
He's a friend of one of the passengers.
That it was on ascent. That's a bad sign. And where comms were lost.
It was on the scent.
In a submersible, and then they told me where it was, the dive on Titanic. It was the first dive. That's a bad sign. That it was on ascent. That's a bad sign. And where comms were lost. So my worst fears, as of Monday, have now been realized. And the only thing is we've gone through these 4 days of concern and worry and hope and praying that the outcome would be different. So, yeah, 2 friends of mine are gone.
2.
And I just learned that, I don't know how many minutes ago.
Yeah. Look, and I'm really sorry. And if you are happy to carry on, because it is difficult, just tell us what Hamish and PH were like.
Well, they were totally different people from different backgrounds, different stations in life, if you will. One is being paid to be in that submersible, and one is paying a great deal of money to be there. But together, there are two guys, characters that would have got on like a house on fire. I'm sure they would have got on extremely well. As a matter of fact, they were most certainly put together in that dive because either Hamish requested PH or the organizers said, as Hamish being one of the key clients, we want PH to be with you because he will give you a spectacular overview of the wreck and explanation and the history. He knows it like the back of his hand, so you couldn't have a better guide. They were both very accomplished people. PH is almost a legend. You know, I don't think there's many people that have more dives on Titanic than he has. And I've known him longer, more professionally, Hamish more socially through the Explorers Club. And Hamish was just very charming, gregarious guy. I met him at a dinner, we were at a table, and by the end of it, we were planning an expedition together to actually climb Kilimanjaro with our families. And so while they were both experienced people, one lived this life of deep diving, of submersibles, Navy diver. The other one from a different, he's a pilot.
Very experienced.
Yes, he ran a very.
I think, he was in his 70s.
Yeah, very, I don't think he was in his 70s. He's certainly, I thought he was younger than I was.
Oh, was he? Well,
I don't know.
I think I read.
Well, he hit it very well. Well done, Hamish.
Well, it says here he's 77-year-old French explorer.
Oh, no, that's PH.
PH, yeah.
Yeah, PH is 77, yeah.
Yeah, I thought we were talking about the pilot.
Yeah. No, PH actually wasn't the pilot in the submersible. That was the CEO of the company OceanGate.
Oh,
Stockton Rush. PH was essentially a guide.
Oh, I see.
Although, frankly, anybody could pilot the sub because it was a little games controller. But technically, Stockton Rush was the pilot. What PH's job was, as a professional guide, he would sit there and talk people to the wreck, tell them where to go, explain things, and that was his role. So...
All right. Well, I guess that's it for today. We knew it wasn't going to be good. Confirmation now, I guess that's the ship. So, implosion. It's pretty eerie. Crazy way to go. I guess the only thing is because some people were thinking that these people weren't even going to be found. Look at that, they were even found. I guess because they knew they were in that area by the Titanic and they got a lot of support, they were able to find them. And then too bad too for the young kid that was on there. I think he was 19. So whole life gone. At least these other people have somewhat lived their life and stuff. I'm sure they had a lot more to go, but maybe. Somebody sent me this image. Wow. That is crazy. This is a kind of a bad image. Well, the quality didn't come through well, but damn, bro. How far down this thing would have been. Yeah, if there's a chase today, I'll hop on. I'm gonna kind of chill now. I've been meaning to clean up. I need to clean up, and I gotta go to my mother's house today too for a little bit. So, but I'll be around. Oh, the shrimp video. I can't play the video you sent me, Adrian. The videos you guys are sending me, that's like copyright stuff. Is this? Oh, is that what? Here, I'll play some of this. You guys like the shrimp video so much. Insurance on that, but that's a good question. Anthony said, Mel would like to know the insurance on that sub. They probably don't got insurance. The way they riding out with that shit, I don't think they got insurance or nothing. Anyway, man, so yeah, I'm gonna head out of here, man. Thank you guys so much. Have a great day. Unfortunate, sad news. Really weird, crazy story, right? Whoever would have thought it'd be covering like a missing submarine or submersive. That one's like weird, huh? But yeah, I'll hit you guys up. Take care. Adios. Bye. Bloop, bloop, bloop.